Today we are taking a deep dive into Jane Austen's 1813 classic, Pride and Prejudice. We're trying to figure out how a novel that seems to be all about securing a husband became the perfect blueprint for modern digital feminism.
It's a great question. Our mission here is to connect that 19th century economic desperation with 21st century career ambition.
Yeah.
And we're going to use the Emmy-winning web series, The Lizzie Bennet Diaries, as our main guide.
Okay, let's unpack this. And we have to start, of course, with maybe the most famous opening line in all of English literature.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife.
Right.
And that line is just the perfect place to begin because it's so brilliant and so ironic. It calls itself a universal truth, but what our sources show is that it's a massive oversimplification.
It's flipping the truth on its head, really.
Exactly. The real issue wasn't the man's casual desire for a wife. It was the woman's desperate, urgent need for financial survival.
And for the Bennett family, we're talking about, like, life or death economic stakes.
We really are. I mean, in early 19th century England, a woman of their class had shockingly few options. Her whole life boiled down to marriage, or becoming a spinster and facing total destitution.
And the novel sets this up immediately with the entailment of their estate, Longbourn.
Yes, the entail. It means the estate has to pass through the male line to their cousin, Mr. Collins.
And since Mr. Bennet has 5 daughters but no sons, the moment he dies, they're out on the street, no home, no income.
Well, they'd have a tiny bit of interest from their mother's estate, but that's it.
I've-
And Mr. Bennet completely failed to save any money for their dowries. So when you see Mrs. Bennet frantically trying to marry them off, it's not just her being neurotic.
It's the engine of the entire plot. It's a terrifying reality for them.
It is. So that raises the big question.
Right. If Austen is really critiquing all these patriarchal rules, why does the novel end with 3 happy marriages? Isn't that just reinforcing the very system she's supposedly challenging?
And that's the core debate. It's what makes Austen so subversive. She wasn't fighting the idea of marriage itself. She was fighting the reason for it. For her, it shouldn't be about slavish dependence.
And this is where we have to bring in Mary Wollstonecraft.
Precisely. Her book, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, came out in 1792, right before Austen wrote her first draft of the novel.
And Wollstonecraft's idea was pretty radical for the time.
Oh, incredibly. She argued that women weren't naturally weaker than men. They were just kept weak by a lack of education. She said they needed the same rights, especially an education that went beyond just domestic understandings.
So that it could be partners, not just dependents.
Exactly. And Austen's heroines are constantly resisting the mold society was trying to press them into.
What's fascinating here is the kind of advice they were getting at the time.
Absolutely. The popular sermons and advice books were telling young women not to be spirited or witty. They said men of substance found wits undesirable in a wife.
And Austen's characters, especially Elizabeth Bennet, just completely revolt against that idea.
Elizabeth is defined by her wit, her intelligence, her frankness, the very things she was told to suppress. And we see it right away, don't we, when Darcy first sees her.
Oh, the famous insult. He said she's not handsome enough to tempt him.
And that insult, that initial prejudice, forces Elizabeth to demand something pretty revolutionary for 1813. She demands to be seen as an equal.
Which comes to a head in his first proposal.
Yes, it's one of the most insulting proposals in literature. He fully expects her to accept, because he's so rich and she's so not. But she doesn't just say no. She actually reprimands him.
She calls him out for not having a gentlemanlike manner.
She refuses to be the grateful, humble dependent. And later, when she's defending her choice to marry him, she makes her position crystal clear. She says, he is a gentleman. I am a gentleman's daughter. So far, we are equal.
That's pure Wollstonecraft.
It is. It's the educated woman becoming the friend and not the humble dependent of her husband. She chose happiness, but on her own terms. That was radical.
So Elizabeth gets this ideal revolutionary marriage, but Austen doesn't stop there. She shows us the compromises, the other paths. And I have to say, the analysis of Charlotte Lucas it's just so depressing because it feels so real.
It does. Charlotte is 27, which back then was basically on the shelf, and she accepts Mr. Collins right after Elizabeth shuts him down.
Her approach is purely strategic.
It's a completely economical view of marriage. There's no romance. She wants a comfortable home and financial security. She's calculating her way to safety.
You could even say she has, like, immense business savvy. She's securing what was called an honorable provision for herself because the other options were just awful.
Right. Charlotte's path shows the systemic pressure that forced women to see marriage as a kind of real estate deal. She gives up on love for immediate, necessary stability.
And then on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have Lydia Bennet, the reckless one.
Oh, Lydia, the boy-crazy youngest sister. Her impulsive elopement with Wickham it's a disaster.
And Wickham is the worst. I mean, he was only after her because he failed to run off with Darcy's 15-year-old sister for her 30,000-pound dowry.
He's a predator. And Lydia's lack of education and discipline makes her what Wollstonecraft called a slave of her own feelings. She just acts on every whim, on every superficial desire, and risks her entire family's reputation because she's never had to face real consequences.
It's like she proves Wollstonecraft's point, that if you only teach women to care about boys and clothes,
They shamefully neglect the duties of life. Her actions could have ruined all of her sister's chances for a decent marriage.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the whole crisis, the whole Bennett family's potential ruin, is only fixed because one person steps in.
Mr. Darcy,
Yeah.
the man with 10,000 a year.
His secret intervention, right? He pays off all of Wickham's debts and basically bribes him into marrying Lydia. Yes. At great expense and trouble to himself. And sure, it shows his character has grown, he's become honorable, but more importantly, it shows that he, a man of staggering wealth, holds all the power. The ultimate power to either save or destroy their entire family.
The survival of all the Bennett women depends entirely on the generosity of one rich man.
That's the definition of systemic inequality.
So when we jump forward 2 centuries to the Lizzie Bennet diaries, how does that power dynamic change? I mean, when money is no longer this life or death trap.
The change is just. It's revolutionary. The Lizzie Bennet Diaries, or LBD, brings Austen right into what we call the fourth wave of feminism.
Which is all about using the internet to amplify your voice, to organize.
Exactly. And the whole series shifts its focus away from marriage and onto career and financial ambition.
Our new Lizzie Bennet is a grad student. She opens her vlog looking at that famous first line, and she just scoffs. Universal truth. Really, marriage isn't her goal. She has student loans and a career to figure out. And that frees up the characters to thrive in ways the originals just couldn't. Lizzie literally has a digital forum, her vlog, to work through her thoughts. And when Darcy, who's now the CEO of Pepperly Digital, offers her a
A
job,
really good job. He basically creates a department for her.
she turns it down. She says, and this is a direct quote, she doesn't want to be the girl that dates the boss. She's prioritizing her own merit, her own startup over his patronage.
It's a complete rejection of that 19th century model.
And look at the modern Charlotte Liu. She is still focused on her own finances and personal fulfillment, but she does it by being ruthlessly pragmatic and climbing the corporate ladder. She becomes the CEO of the U.S. division of Collins & Collins.
And she's completely unapologetic about it. She puts her career first.
And even Jane, the sweetest, most passive character in the book. In LBD, she puts her fashion career first, which leads to her boyfriend Bing dropping out of med school to follow her to New York.
The woman becomes the career driver, and the man follows. A total reversal.
And we know the series is focused on female agency. Our analysis showed it passes the Bechdel test with flying colors. I mean, men are only physically present in 26 of the 100 main episodes.
It validates a woman having a story that isn't just about a man.
Absolutely. The whole transmedia format, using Twitter and Facebook, it all taps into that self-organizing spirit of the fourth wave.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. When you look at why readers today still love Austen, it's not just the romance, it's the universal stuff. We still deal with embarrassing relatives.
Oh, definitely.
And those love-hate relationships that are, the foundation of almost every rom-com, and maybe the biggest one of all, that human flaw of jumping to conclusions.
The human condition really hasn't changed that much, has it? Even if the laws have. Our sources show that despite all our progress, many women still feel that internal pressure to marry well.
And readers from certain communities, like some South Asian communities, say that Mrs. Bennet's anxiety feels very, very current.
And we all still make the mistake of trusting first impressions, just like Elizabeth did with Wickham.
The LBD Lydia storyline is maybe the most tragic example of how these old problems echo today. In the show, Wickham coerces Lydia into a sex tape.
And the digital fallout was brutal.
Ugh.
And it revealed this horrible double standard. The comments from real-life viewers were things like, Lydia, get over yourself, or stop being so dramatic.
Instant victim blaming, slut shaming.
It showed that even with more sexual freedom, women are still so vulnerable to unscrupulous men, especially in a digital world, Wickham faced almost no backlash for what he did.
But Lydia's reputation was tarnished, and it's inerasable online. The internet just gave that old inequality a new global
Yeah.
stage.
And ultimately, I think the enduring power of the story, in either form, really comes down to self-knowledge.
Elizabeth's big moment. How despicably have I acted? Till this moment, I never knew myself.
It's her moment of clarity. She realizes she got it all wrong about Darcy and Wickham.
And Darcy changes, too. He really takes her criticism to heart. He says her reproof, so well applied I shall never forget, had you behaved in a more gentlemanlike manner.
Austen completely redefined what gentlemanlike means. It's not about your family name or your status anymore. It's about your moral character, about respecting other people.
So that's really the core takeaway, isn't it?
I think so. Austen's genius was creating female characters who were already too big, too strong for the box society put them in. They were demanding an equal partnership. And so when you drop them into a modern context, they don't just survive.
Thrive.
They thrive. All you had to do was remove those external barriers that Wollstonecraft was talking about 200 years ago.
Yeah. Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on. Elizabeth and Darcy both had to go through this really painful process of confronting their own pride and prejudice to get to a place of mutual respect and really self-knowledge. So if the modern relevance is that we all still need to check our first impressions and overcome our own flaws, what are these digital platforms, like the ones that hosted the Lizzie Bennet diaries, actually doing to our own self-knowledge?
That's a great question. Are they forcing us toward genuine self-reflection and accountability, like Lizzie's vlog did for her? Or are they just feeding our echo chambers, enabling the exact same kind of vanity and defensiveness that Austen's heroes had to fight so hard to dismantle?